welcome. I don't know why I did that in like an old villager voice. I don't know who that was. Hello, guys. This is Sarah, and this is another episode of Mental Odyssey. Today, again, I am joined by my wonderful fiance, Tomas. Hello, Tomas.
Ah.
I had you grounded, sorry.
You did, you grounded me. Buenos dias.
Hello. So on this podcast, we're basically just going to be continuing the conversation we started last time about our differences in eating styles and how to get out of our disordered behavior, I guess. Would be a good way to kind of sum it up.
Mm-hmm. As non-professionals.
As non-professionals, obviously.
Just professional sufferers.
Yeah, just fucking going through it. Just riding the wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just roll right into it. So what I was saying before we started recording is that there's such a difference between your body and my body. Even you at your heaviest was way different than my end result of what I'm trying to work towards. And so our eating needs are very different. Our caloric needs are different. And nutrition needs are different, especially since we also lead different lifestyles. So I think that the biggest disconnect for you and me is the fact that we're both trying to be right, but there really is no right when it comes to the other person, for the reason that A, we're not professionals, B, we're both very different in lifestyle and body shape, and C, we both had different experiences with eating.
Yeah.
And listening to the playback, for those listeners out there, we listened to the playback a little bit right before this. I at least could kind of see where we disagree. Yeah.
You want to go more into that?
Oh, I just did.
Oh.
Yeah, about the different body shapes and
Yeah.
lifestyles, namely the lifestyle. Because like me trying to be a little bit more active, and I will say I thought about this on the drive over to the shop to get that part taken care of. That's a mystery until later today. I thought about what you said about the dedication to jiujitsu more as a just going to it, having the discipline to just get to class as opposed to consider it a workout.
Yeah.
I think that was very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't hit me at the time just because we were in the middle of the argument, but it's one of those things where I thought about after the fact. And it seems like a more feasible way to actually get into jiu-jitsu and have less anxiety around it. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, because you have a whole story about weight loss. Like, you have a big-ass fucking story about weight loss.
Really? A big-ass story?
Yes.
Funny. You got the jokes now.
I wasn't being funny. It's a very large story.
So my obese story, walking into the gym.
Very large story.
Yeah. I think the anxiety around going to jiu-jitsu is just knowing that I am the biggest person there. Actually, that's not true. I don't know if he's ever coming back, but the guy James that I met a while ago, I think he's training at a different place now. But there's another guy who was in there yesterday. I think his name was Trevor. 6'4", 320 pounds. Like, that is the perfect partner for me.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like right at my size.
Yeah.
And I fucking can't wait to see that guy on the mat. But anyways, the anxiety mostly revolves around the fact that I'm the biggest both in girth and height. Maybe we shouldn't put that in the podcast. That can be taken out of context. Circumference. Yeah. But it's still just my bullshit.
Yeah.
Carrying it in there with me when the reality of the situation is someone sees me and they think
they're like,
totally different
fuck,
thing.
dude, this guy's going to be hard to take down.
Oh, no. Anybody who knows anything about jiu-jitsu is like, fuck that guy. But I walk in there and they just see Tom. They don't see everything that I'm thinking about. They don't see anything that I've carried with me,
Tom, the guy whose gut gets in the way of his rolling.
Yeah, I don't see that shit. And, hold on.
Tom, the guy who gets in his head a little bit too much.
Well, guys who've gone on a similar journey as mine, where they go through a massive weight loss, whether or not they did it through jiu-jitsu or whatever, they'd understand.
Yeah.
You know, they would understand what it's like to carry that mental weight with you every place you go and think of yourself a certain way, when the reality of the situation is other people look at you in a totally different fashion.
Yeah, it's like what you were saying earlier about, like, you don't see yourself in your happiest or your saddest or your goofiest moments. You only look at yourself
I just
like one
look
way
in the mirror and I see whatever is staring back at me.
Yeah, whichever look you're giving yourself, the one look that
And
you
it's not
have
likely
when
to
you're
be
looking
joy.
in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't when my face lights up or something like that. And
when you're telling a silly story
yeah,
and you're just cracking up.
Yeah.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
Is it?
Yeah.
I would have figured it's kind of annoying.
Nope.
I've always been kind of self-conscious about that because I tell jokes that I find funny and I embellish stories into a more comedic telling of the story.
You lie. You lie to
No,
people.
I don't lie. I embellish. For sure.
You curve the story, as my mom would like to say.
Well, I'm going to stick with the embellishment. Either way, I tend to laugh at some of the jokes I tell because I think of them in the moment. And so I've always been self-conscious because growing up, you see the person who laughs at their own jokes and they're kind of the dork or the outcast. They're like, oh, God, that guy's kind of annoying. He laughs at his own jokes. I've always been really kind of worried about that.
So you have an internalized, judgmental person inside of your brain.
That doesn't even begin to describe the motherfucker in there.
Yeah.
At all. That dude is one of the most judgmental people ever.
I know.
Most harshly on myself, but
yeah.
Like,
it's an energy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's just constant judgment going around of like if I'm like when we were delivering papers or something like that, at least it had some kind of function. You know, I see somebody walking down the street at 3 a.m. I know what I'm doing at 3 a.m. out there. But now I have to judge this individual based on what I see in their posture or what they're wearing, how they're walking. Are they walking straight towards me? Are they going somewhere else?
I feel like we're pretty far from the point of this.
We are very far from the point. We'll get back to it. Well, actually, no. You know what? We're not far from the point because that dude up there, that little bastard, the judgmental guy, is part of the reason that I'm so harsh on myself when it comes to controlled eating.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to judge myself by my intake before it's even considered intake. It's just on the plate.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part we should talk about.
Then talk about it.
Oh, fuck, right now?
Yeah, right now. What else?
Well, I just created that. I don't have any thoughts around it.
I'm sure if you
I
thought
don't have
long
to wing
enough.
this podcast.
Why not?
Fuck it. Embody the spirit of Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah. So you're messed up.
So, for me, the judgment starts in the grocery store. Like when we go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
The moment we're in there and we start putting stuff in the cart, I'm already trying to judge myself from a third person perspective. Like, what would someone passing by look in the cart and then look at me and see?
That's only because you're doing that to other people.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. It starts with self-reflection. Like, well, I don't know, it's kind of egotistical to call it self-reflection. But it starts with that, where I'm trying to think of it in third person as someone who's judging me based on what's in my cart. And then the next thought after that is going to be turn to my left and what do they have in their cart versus what do they look like?
Because you have to make yourself feel better.
Because I have to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And I really fucking hate the fact that I have to do that.
Which almost comes back to what I was talking about a while ago of how I would like to not compare ourselves to other people. Even if it's out of a way of like trying to make yourself feel better about something.
That's a good point.
I don't think that it's beneficial to compare because then it again goes into the realm of like good or bad. You know, like whose card is better? Let's break it down and like what are the judgments?
And better for what?
Yeah, exactly. Like enjoyment? Are we talking about
better
enjoyment?
by my own standards? And if that's the case, then just look at my own cart and keep my nose down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I try to do that. But even then, like that's when Mr. Judgment up there goes third person mode. And then I feel guilty for putting something. See, here's the thing. I have an idea of what my path is, of what I need to do to get there, right? To my goal weight, that's my path. And so when I put something in that cart that in some fashion or another, whether it's for you or me, if I were to indulge too much in that, it would stray me from the path. Example, ice cream. Or the oatmeal that you buy. Yeah. Cookie dough. Pretty much anything considered the bad food in the traditional sense. I judge myself very harshly for having it in the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and we should also get into the bad and good food thing in a minute. But that guy up there who's judging me feels bad for just putting shit in my cart and refuses to accept the alternate perspective of, well, look in someone else's cart. It just looks like a cart full of stuff.
Yeah.
There's no two ways, or there's no like, oh, that guy's got cookie dough in there.
Literally, all of us are just trying to be fed.
Yeah. I mean, we have the extremes. You know, we obviously would judge the extremes just because they're so extreme they stand out. Like, if some dude is critically overweight and just has nothing but Doritos in his cart, it's pretty easy to notice. However, despite my best efforts, I cannot convince the judgmental guy that I am not that individual.
See, but also, like, who are you to say that that guy is not, like, on his way to a fucking party?
Yeah, I am absolutely fucking nobody. Yeah. I don't know his story.
Literally.
I'm just an asshole for judging this dude.
For just judging the dude, just for fucking eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I feel like that's where adopting more of an intuitive mindset about food, right? Like, what sounds good? Because the thing is that, like, I think that you like a lot more productive, quote unquote, foods than what you, like, would think, you know?
What do you mean by that?
Like you get excited about burger salad.
Oh, I fucking love that.
You know, like, you get excited about foods that, like, the way that you say it when it's like you're explaining why you're scared of the guy that, like, overeats, right? It's almost like you think that you exclusively make bad decisions about food and you have to protect yourself against that guy who only makes those decisions, but that's just not the case. It's just not true. That dude is not here. Like, you don't exclusively make bad decisions about food, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's so fucking hard because I'm like, why are you saying bad? Ugh.
I wonder if it's a good segue to get into that, but maybe we can reattribute it instead of bad food, just less nutritious.
See, I don't even want to categorize food because, like, food is food. Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's all food. The difference is, again, your nutritional needs are different than mine. So what I would categorize as quote-unquote bad food or less nutritious food could be completely different for you.
I feel like it could almost be broken down to a make you full food. Would be more of, like, an intuitive way. Like,
I think Noom calls that a green food.
Okay, well, that's completely diverting from the fucking point of intuitive eating. It's literally...
Yeah.
But, like, a food that's going to make you feel full for a while, or, like, a snackish food, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like snacks have a negative connotation to them, too, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah. I think that, here, you know what? Let me ask you. How do you view snacks?
I feel like that's a very vague, broad question.
All right, let me refine the question. How do you feel about our snack bin right now?
Pretty hyped.
Okay.
We got quite a bit of choices in there.
And for our listeners, we got some popcorn, we got some caramel apple suckers, we got Snickers.
Twizzlers. I was going to say Twizzies because of Bones.
Jesus.
Some Smarties.
Peanut M&Ms.
Runts.
Yeah. I think we might be out of Smarties.
We got dill pickle chips and barbecue chips.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that?
Some granola.
Besides hyped.
It makes me want to eat. I'm intrigued. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have yet to eat a dill pickle chip with a barbecue chip at the same time. I'm very curious to see what that flavor is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
But all of those foods, to some people, could be considered poison. They're like, those foods
You've
are
said that.
terrible. Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I have. Because in a sense, I do consider them poison. They're not going to keep me on the path. They're going to entice me to stay off of it.
The way that you're explaining that literally sounds like the way that the Mormons describe Satan.
Oh, Jesus. Is it
like
that bad?
It literally is that is what you're describing.
So we'll just call the snack bin the adversary then.
Oh, my God. We got the devil in our cabinet.
Them chips are the devil. Anyways, I've actually done a lot of work on myself to be able to go into that snack bin, pull out the entire bag of chips, and just eat a few of them right out the bag and put the bag back.
Yeah.
Like, the difference between me now versus me 4 years ago, I would have eaten that entire bag.
Yeah.
For sure. And that would have been poison. Like, but now a couple of chips is just a couple of chips.
Yeah.
I don't even think I eat a full serving. What's a full serving? Like 12 chips? I definitely don't get that far.
Fucking know.
Whatever it is, I think that health professionals would call that moderation. You eat everything in moderation. And the judgmental guy in my head sometimes doesn't accept that. He doesn't accept its moderation. He's like, no, you're poisoning your body by eating 6 chips.
Yeah.
Or like a few M&Ms or a few runts.
My mind does that about soda.
Soda?
Yeah.
Like a whole can?
No, just like I heard this thing about how soda like fucks up your stomach biome or whatever. Like the pH balance in your stomach or something.
Ooh.
I don't know. It's just some dumb shit that fucking you read and fucking pick up on and run by those fucking rules because you read it somewhere sometime.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's what gets us here. That's what gets people in this place of like not knowing how to feed themselves and not knowing like what to do. You know
what was really disappointing to me when I went to see that nutritionist. That like what was that, like a year and a half ago, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and like on the website, she's a nutritionist. She's a very nice lady. I'm not going to name her and I'm not going to knock her, but when I got there, I had an expectation that I'd learn how to eat, and it turns out she's just some kind of counselor. She's like, oh, let me identify your relationship with food. I don't make meal plans. And to me, that's what a nutritionist is for, so I just paid $120 to learn jack shit and feel exactly the same as when I walked in that door.
I imagine that she was probably an eating or like some intuitive eating person, and she might have actually been helpful.
She might have, but not for me at that time.
Because the thing is that like, well, yeah, because you don't want to face your relationship. You didn't want to face your relationship with food.
Well, it's not what I was looking for. I wasn't looking to.
You wanted a quick fix.
Talk to my food. I was like, hey, I need a nutrition plan because I don't know how to eat.
Yeah.
I don't care what my relationship with food is. I want to know how to eat.
Yeah.
I can figure that out down the line. It was a very big disappointment for me. She was very nice. She was very nice, smart about what she was talking about. She just didn't do meal plans. It just wasn't what I was looking for. Of course, she also made a good point that you can't really craft a meal plan without getting blood work done.
Yeah.
Because it has to be tailored to your body specifically.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which means that, like, if you are doing things to alter your diet, you could be doing them wrong. So then, like, what if all of this fucking effort and heartache that you put into your diet is just completely fucking wrong and potentially is the reason why you're not fucking meeting your goals or whatever? Like, fuck.
You know what's going through I'm going to talk through what's going through my mind right now.
Go for it.
So what's going through my mind right now as you're talking about that is like a stereotypical internet personality. The only name coming to mind right now is Andrew Tate, but he's something else. But stereotypical internet personality who just screams at you that it's not hard to eat vegetables. It's not hard to eat correctly, eat chicken, eat rice, eat veggies. It's not hard.
Yeah.
And they're right. It is not difficult to do all that. It's very easy to change your diet and make it exciting in there. The hard part comes from, am I doing this properly. Like, I don't know how many calories I really need. I don't know. Maybe I have an insulin deficiency, where I can't eat too much sugar or whatever it is. I just don't know any of that. All I know is, hey, I can eat healthier by making burger salad or barbecue ranch salad or just vegetables in general. Like what we do when we just bake the vegetables, toss a little S&P on them, and call it a day. Those are delicious. I fucking love those.
Yeah.
But then, how much salt are you supposed to be eating? I don't know. Or care.
Yeah.
It's not hard to change your diet, but I think what's left out of those conversations is I don't know a single person who's just grabbing a head of iceberg lettuce and eating it and calling it a day, or just I mean, I like just carrots, but you know, it's usually accompanied with ranch or some kind of sauce, or put it in something with chicken or a stir fry of some kind. And I think the biggest challenge for all of that is, at what point do I learn what's good for me?
Yeah.
And then we see, this is where I can't agree with you about the good and bad food thing, because to me, it's kind of obvious. The bad food is stuff that's just not going to keep you full, and it's not going to, like, how would I describe this? Like maybe a calorie to full ratio, like a chocolate chip cookie, for example. I don't know how many calories are in the chocolate chip cookies, but let's just say it's 100, or yeah, let's just say it's 100 for the sake of easy math, right?
I don't want to do math about it.
Well, I'm not going to. But you eat a chocolate chip cookie, you just ate 100 calories. But do you feel any sort of full from one chocolate chip cookie? Hell no.
Yeah.
You don't. You got to eat quite a few of those, and by the time you eat those 5 or 6 chocolate chip cookies, you're feeling terrible for something else.
See, but like, eating isn't always to just get full. Eating is enjoyment, it's community, it's family, it's
I tend to forget about that.
like,
I'm so wrapped up in my bullshit that I totally forget that people do that.
yeah. Like, I really feel like it's like, what's your intention with food, you know?
Yeah. I think part
Like,
of me
some
feels that
people
you're
have-
attacking my intention, though. Like with this whole argument where you're trying to change my mind, it feels like you're attacking my intention. When I say controlled eating or somewhat restrictive eating, my intention is to better myself.
I would say that not necessarily that I question your intention. I would say more I question your solution.
Well, yeah, but who the hell are you?
Just another person that's struggling.
Yeah. I don't know if we said it on the mic or not, or if this was off the mic, or if this was even a different fight altogether, but the one about you trying to prove that you're right and I'm trying to prove that I'm right, when it just comes from our experiences.
Yeah.
Like, you're right according to your experience in your life and how you eat, and I'm right according to my experience in my life and how I eat. Unfortunately, we're going to disagree.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. I just have a hard time believing that the diet thing is ever going to work, because it doesn't. Like, I literally watch you go through these cycles that you will not admit exist of like,
Oh, I admit, they're about 2 weeks long.
yeah, like you're super motivated. I'm going to stick to this diet. Blah, 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 and
What
then it
diet are
just
you talking
fucking-
about? When was the
Any
last
of
time I
them.
went on a diet?
Any of them.
I can tell you when the last time I went on a diet was.
Huh.
Keto.
What?
Wait, Optivia might have been after that.
Okay, it was that. It was Optivia. It was being vegan. That was my
I don't
idea,
count,
but we
I
still
don't count
fucking
that
did.
one.
You shouldn't. That's a different podcast.
That is a different podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I guess, yeah, the vegan diet, because I did legitimately give that one a try. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'll say, like, what's funny is through all of these diets, except for Optivia, because that one is a specific program where you have to buy their product, through every diet that I've done, I've taken 1 or 2 things and actually enjoy the dishes now. I'm just not sticking to keto. Like, keto came up with burger salad.
Yeah.
Fucking love that, but I'm not keto.
I would say that the thing that worked the most was you being dedicated to going to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, that was the one thing that fucking worked. was just like showing up. And that's why I push so fucking heavily on, hey, maybe drop the fucking dieting part of it and maybe it'll figure itself out. Right?
True.
Like, you've put so much fucking gas into that one area that it's like at some point, maybe take a step back and come up with a different solution to the problem that you're trying to solve. Come at it from a different fucking angle, because like I've watched my mom do the same thing from at least 12 years old and above, where, oh, I'm going to get really strict about my diet, and then her care for herself falls down, and then she's eating out more often, or she's gone from home a lot more often, and so the weight comes back on, and then, oh, I found this diet, I'm going to do it, and then she loses some weight, and then, like, I do not think that diet culture works. I don't think that there is a sustainable thing that comes out of trying to do weight loss anybody else's way, really. Like, every single person has their own independent way of losing weight, and whether or not they keep it off is up to them, and how consistent they are with whatever they came up with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like, to me, I know that you can be consistent with just going to jiujitsu if you take the fucking pressure off it. Like, if it can just be somewhere where you have fun, there is nothing stopping you from going. But if it has to be multifunctional every time that you go, oh, it's because of weight loss. Then on the days where you're not feeling very great about weight loss, then what? What happens to that shit? You're not going there for fun.
That's a good point. That's something that's contributed to, for the last 2 years, only getting roughly 6 months to 7 months of instruction.
Yeah.
Like, it's because when I go there, I have all that shit.
Yeah.
Or even if I think about going, it's like, fuck. Now I got to think, like, am I clean? Like, it's a respect thing for me, being clean going on the mat to my partners. I want to be presenting at least a somewhat, because I've actually learned through going to jiu-jitsu that no one really gives two shits about body odor. It happens. We're all sitting here working out, getting sweaty. Like, it's cool. Body odor is not the problem. So that's helped. But I worry about, am I clean? Or am I going to have time? What am I having to sacrifice by going to jiu-jitsu? Fortunately, a lot of those excuses were eliminated when we stopped throwing papers. Just because it's like I'd wake up at 10:30 p.m., work all the way until 8 or so, 8 a.m., close enough to it, sometimes a little sooner, sometimes a little later. But then class would start in an hour. So am I still dirty from work? How much time am I going to have to sacrifice doing this? Can I stay on the mat a little longer, stretch, or whatever it is? All of those things were going on. And then by the time I'd get back from jiu-jitsu, I'd have about 3 hours until I go to bed.
Yeah.
Whereas now, it's just fresh in the day. It's a lot more fun now to just go.
Yeah. And it could be even more fun.
It could be even more fun if I take the pressure off.
If you take the pressure off. And like, I am willing to put my shit down if you actually fucking try it. Like,
try what?
Not fucking having the pressure of having to lose weight. Like, I really think that as soon as you take the pressure off, it'll just fucking happen for you. Because you're not worried, like, it's not, oh, I have to do this so that I can meet this goal of losing weight. It's like, hey, because, like, your goal in jiu-jitsu is to compete. What is going to get you good at competing at jiu-jitsu?
You know what
going
I just
to
realized?
jiu-jitsu.
Micromanagement. I am micromanaging every single thing I do. And we know what happens when you have a micromanager. Fucking nothing runs.
Gets done.
Nothing gets done. Everyone's annoyed.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I've been micromanaging every single fucking thing I do.
Yep.
To try and lose weight. You could be right. I'd be willing to try it.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start, but
I really think that changing your perspective, and like, for me, I could say that one of the ways that I relate to this is with nicotine, right? Like, it's something that takes up a great deal of headspace for me, of like trying to quit all the fucking time. But like, you know, those couple weeks ago when I was talking with my therapist, it was like, I don't want to put that pressure on myself anymore because I keep disappointing myself, and I know that the disappointment is not good, and I'm the only person putting that pressure on me. I am the only person. And when I don't need fucking nicotine anymore, I'm not going to do it. You know, like I don't have to have that fucking pressure on myself because it's not being productive. It's not giving me forward momentum. It just makes me feel like I'm failing myself all the time. And I feel like that can relate to the idea of like dieting and being restrictive and whatnot, because like,
oh, for sure,
having that pressure all of the time is not helpful because it just leads you into that stress. Now you have to stress eat because you're stressed out about how you're fucking eating. Like, come on.
Yeah, it is kind of a double whammy.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about that the other day, like how nice it would be to just not have to think about any of that when I go to have a meal.
Yeah.
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 Because, like, I enjoy vegetables. I enjoy delicious food.
Yeah.
And there's really no reasonable reason why I can't think that way. It's just that little judgmental guy up there who's just like, oh, do we really need to be eating this right now? And then I'm like, dude, fuck off. I'm just trying to eat. That guy won't shut up. He's like, no, you're straying from the path. If that's what you want to do, enjoy the lack of discipline. Fuck off. And then meanwhile, I'm just sitting here eating a salad with a little bit of extra meat in it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, and I think that one of the other things that happens is that we get too zoomed in on how we're feeling on a specific day and then project that on the past and the future. On the past and the future. Where it's
Explain.
like, let's say today you are not feeling very good about your food choices, right? And so then you start talking, I've been doing really bad recently, right? It's just fucking today. But the way that you're feeling makes you feel like it's actually been like a whole fucking week that you've been fucking off, you know? And you start feeling super down on yourself, right? When in all reality, like, give yourself the room and the grace to have a good day and to have a bad day, you know? If we're going to be categorizing days.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you can go.
You remember that Irish dude on Instagram that you showed me?
Mm-hmm.
And he had that cup metaphor where, like, you have to eat a caloric deficit every day.
Yeah.
And he poured, like, 5 of those glasses were at a deficit. One of them was full. One of them was overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
That model kind of helped me a little bit.
Yeah.
On those days where I'm just eating a little more than I feel like I should.
Yeah. Don't assign that the way you're feeling on that specific day to how you've been feeling, because that's just not true.
Yeah. Granted, it's also not carte blanche to just continue pouring into the glass that's already full.
No. And it doesn't feel good. Like, if you're actually checking in with your body, it doesn't feel good to do that.
No.
You know? And I feel like that's where the intuitive eating, like, it almost covers all of the bases, you know? Like,
it does. It's
you
just
get
so
scared.
hard to get a vague or a definitive answer into what it is.
Yeah.
Every website has its own version of what intuitive eating looks like. So where do I start?
Yeah. I really just think that it is like, take your foot off the fucking gas of weight loss.
You know,
and simultaneously, like, put it into somewhere that you actually are going to be getting good mileage out of.
Yeah. It would make sense to have yourself on a baseline of, like, how much does it take to really make me feel full? Because I'm the type of person, you know, I grew up in a household where you ate everything that was on your plate, especially if you served it yourself.
Yeah.
If you served it yourself, you better eat everything.
And better luck next time.
If someone else cooked it, you better be appreciative and eat everything on your plate. So man, that's a really shitty way to put that on your kid. But
it is, but we don't think twice about it because that's just how it fucking is.
But that's the way I am now. That's how you were raised. Like, even now, whatever's in my bowl, I'm likely going to finish it, intuitive or not. And so I try and eliminate the guesswork and just portion out before I even put it in my bowl. Like, I go to the pot and I'm like, okay, I want to eat intuitively. So I'm going to have a smaller portion. And then I eat
Yeah.
the smaller portion. I wait about 5-10 minutes or so, see if I'm still hungry. Then I go back and get the same size portion until I feel full.
Yeah.
And it's helped me set my baseline now. But then it changes with whatever food it is. You know, salad is going to be different than the pasta we had last night. Or it's also going to be different than those delicious, succulent chocolate chip cookies.
Mm.
Oh, maybe we shouldn't moan into the microphones. But it's good to have a baseline, and I would not have been able to establish that baseline 2 years ago when I started keto or Optivia or anything like that. By the way, while we're here, let's talk about how much of a fucking joke Optivia is. Like, people may have been successful on it, and their little coaches or whatever, I felt were vastly under-equipped. For anybody out there listening who's going to try Optivia or has done Optivia or is currently on Optivia, these are my feelings about it. It fucking sucks. I talked to some lady, so for reference, I'm 6'5", and at the time I was 355 pounds. And Optivia's program is you buy their product and you can have one, like for example, they have these cinnamon granola bars or something. You can have one of those, and then 2 hours later you eat either another one of those or something else of your choice, like the jalapeno popper balls or whatever it was. You get to do that 5 times a day, and you get to have one lean and green, which is like a handful of some kind of green. I think it was a cup. I don't even remember after so long. And depending on the fat content of your meat of choice, the higher fat, you could have 3 ounces. The lower fat lean meats, you could have 7 ounces. And for me, at that big, I lost 30 pounds in about 3 weeks, give or take. Was it about 3 weeks? Because we went to Utah. Yeah. And
it was effective.
But I felt like shit.
Yeah.
I was hungry the entire time. I could not remember a portion of that 3 weeks where I was never full or where I was full.
Yeah.
And then when we go down to Utah,
because you're eating 5 snacks in one meal.
Oh, that was a snack. That wasn't a meal. And then I call this, I'm not going to out their name, but I call this Optivia life coach or whatever it is they call them. And she's like, oh yeah, you're a big guy. You could just eat double a lean and green. You'll be fine. Who the fuck are you?
Like, what do you know about me
She's
or
not
my
a nutritionist.
biome?
She's not qualified. She doesn't know anything about my biome. And it just wasn't. And then when we went to Utah, we had, oh man, what did we not eat when we were down there? We went to Beto's. We went to
all the good places.
All those good places.
Yeah.
And I felt like shit because I gained 15 pounds by the time we came back in a week.
Well, yeah, that's because you
because
weren't
my
supposed
body
to
regulated
lose 10
itself.
of it.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a really weird portion of my life.
yeah.
Like losing that much weight in that short amount of time and then gaining it back because it's not normal to do that.
See, but that's the thing with diet culture. Like, that's the thing that happens is that, like, there's a lot of undereducated people who are snake oil salesmen. They have the next best thing that's going to solve all of your problems and make you be able to do jiujitsu without your gut getting in the way.
You know, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I shouldn't be so harsh on Optivia itself just based on my experience. Because I'm guessing the person who started that had people's best intentions in mind.
Yeah, but it's not a big scale thing. Like, diet culture is profiting off of your insecurity right now. Like, currently profiting off of your insecurity. Which is really unfortunate. Like, you could use your money a lot better than diet culture could.
Oh yeah. I mean, just with inflation, better foods at the grocery store cost more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what say you? How are you feeling about this conversation? I feel like it's kind of boiled down a bit.
It has. I feel like I don't think we're ever really going to agree because of the fact that we're not professionals and that we're so different in our needs. Like after this conversation, I'm not going to stop being somewhat restrictive with my diet. I'm still open to suggestion and trying to remove the pressure of weight loss and just make jiu-jitsu fun or make the gym fun as opposed to I'm doing this to lose weight and then on the days that I just don't go or get too busy, and I'd feel less bad about it.
Yeah. Because you're not like stipending yourself or your growth by not going.
Stipending?
Yeah.
Is that a word?
I think so. It's like limiting,
Yeah, whatever.
putting a limit on.
Yeah. I think that's really
Stifle.
where the
I
pressure
think
comes
that's what
from.
it is,
Is like
stifling.
not going to the gym or having an off day with my diet or whatever, since I'm micromanaging myself so frequently that any deviation from that just makes me feel awful.
Yeah.
And then I'm not motivated to do it again the next day because I remember how awful I felt the day before. And then you get that old, I sat down for 2 hours being stressed out that I wasn't doing anything, and then stressed out at the realization I just did nothing for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I get stressed out for another 2 hours.
Yeah. It's
Whatever
unhelpful.
it is. You know how I fight that?
Mm.
How I've been fighting that? I go do something.
Yeah.
Like, it can be anything. It can even be unrelated. Like, if I didn't go to the gym yet or something, I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to walk the dogs for 10 minutes. Or I'm going to go clear my emails. Even that, because like just simple things, because the last thing that I want is more pressure somewhere else. And it sounds dumb, but like other than the correlation of a task being completed, the gym and emails are unrelated.
Yeah.
Like when I feel bad, like, oh man, I really should go to the gym. I haven't done it today. It's almost 6 p.m. or whatever it is. I'm like, well, I've got like 100 things to do tomorrow. So why don't I just clear a couple of those now and reset with the gym tomorrow?
Yeah.
And that's been very successful for me, because then I'm not stressed out about the fact that I didn't go to the gym the day prior, and I've got this massive list to tackle the next day that would prevent me from going to the gym a second time.
Yeah.
I just switch them. I just do something, do some kind of activity that I have been stressing out about, just to do something.
Yeah, I've been practicing doing some thought stopping, which is basically you just don't go there.
What?
Like I start stressing out about taxes and how we're gonna like come up with money to pay our taxes, and
Oh fuck, we gotta
it's like,
finish that.
but the thing is, like, can you do anything about it right now? I can't do anything about it right now.
Other than file, no, we can't.
I mean, filing, that's not gonna do anything for us right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, honestly, there's no reason in taking up extra of my headspace. Like, I would say last month I was checking our bank account almost every day, just trying to make sure that we're good. But like, since my therapist introduced me to thought stopping, I don't worry about it.
Explain thought stopping.
Thought stopping is like I said, just you don't allow yourself to go there. You start thinking, oh, well, this isn't good for me, or it's gonna, like, for me, it happens a lot about thinking about work and how I'm going to have a certain interaction at work or whatever. But I ain't getting paid for having those fucking thoughts, and it sure is not going to make me any more prepared for the moment at hand. So why exactly am I giving away that headspace to those thoughts that are not helpful to me? They're not making me feel any better. They're stressing me out. Like, I don't want to go there. It's not important. Whereas being an overthinker and being totally fine ruminating on literally everything, like, it's been nice to not go down some of those rabbit holes that my brain's trying to go down. You know, like, I would imagine that yours would be something about along the lines of, like, you go to jiujitsu, you start thinking about your stomach on your way home or whatever, then you start contemplating ways that you can fucking change, you know, your diet, or the, like, a plan of action of how to set up your schedule going forward to be able to boom, boom, boom. Like how you came to me the other day with, like, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go to jiu-jitsu 5 days a week and judo 2 days a week, and maybe the gym at night and stuff.
The competition on the 25th. This is not a long-term plan. I'd probably get hurt.
But it still is like when you start planning things out that meticulously, it really is micromanaging. And like stopping those micromanaging thoughts of like, it really doesn't matter right now. Like with the photographer and the videographer, like, we're along for this ride, whether we like it or not. And stressing out about it right now is not going to get us any closer to the outcome that we are wanting. It really isn't, as unfortunate as that is.
See, that's where I kind of disagree with you a little bit.
Of course you do.
Oh, yeah, of course. I never agree with you. But the difference is I believe we can change the outcome a little, or at least get closer to the outcome with some form of action. Like, for example, with the videographer thing, we know his name. We don't know his contact info. We don't know anything about him at all. And for that, yes, we have to play the waiting game until 3 weeks out or whatever it is that videographers statistically will contact you at. However, I want to work towards having a videographer at our wedding. And I do not like playing the waiting game. So what I'm going to do is call my mom and tell her to at least tell Mozo the truth of what's happening and why we need him as a backup. And that gets me closer to my ultimate goal of having a videographer at the wedding who's going to be solid. Like, if we were to just not worry about it and just wait, Mozo's not in the wings. Nothing's happening. We're just twiddling our fucking thumbs until 3 weeks out and hoping this guy messages us.
But you already knew that he's on standby.
I didn't.
That's the thing.
No, I didn't. I still don't. I honestly don't trust my mom to communicate that.
Your mom literally just said, hey, he's fine being on standby. Like, let us know.
I hope she's right. I just don't trust that she's actually reached out to him to tell him that.
But why don't you trust that? Like,
because my mom is the world's greatest procrastinator. That's why I'm the second best procrastinator. Like, the only thing that I don't trust is that it hasn't happened yet. That's the only thing I don't trust. I know she'll communicate it effectively. I hope she communicates it effectively, because Mozo's in his own world of stuff he's got to deal with, and I don't want to have to pull him away from that just because Tolman won't get their shit together. But I need a videographer at our wedding.
Yeah.
Like, I would at least like to brief him on what's going on.
Well, anyway.
So he can plan to be there. Yeah, whatever.
God damn it.
We'll have to cut a lot of this podcast out.
A lot of it. We're 52 minutes in right now.
Fuck, dude. Seriously?
Yes.
It's fucking 2.
Anyway, that is the exact opposite of what thought stopping is. What you just did right now is the exact opposite of what thought stopping is.
That's the disagreement right there, is that I don't know if thought stopping would be beneficial to me. I can stop micromanaging stuff, but I got a long list of stuff to change. Oh, I'm very resistant to change.
I think that as soon as you realize that it's a good idea, you'd be down to like actually try it.
I'm that old man from Better Call Saul, when Mesa Verde was buying up all that land and this one dude was just sitting there because he didn't want to change. It's his land. He's going to die there.
Yep.
That's me.
Yep.
I try and change. I do try. It's very difficult for me to adjust a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I do try.
Yeah, I don't know if we've come to...
We've been all over the place for this entire 2-hour adventure.
Yeah.
Is this how we argue? Is this why we disconnect all the time? Because I'm all over the place?
You think we disconnect all the time?
We disconnect a lot. We're very different people.
Yeah.
It's hard work having to try and reach a connection.
It
Hard
is.
work that I love.
You hear the smile?
I heard the smile. I don't know if I heard my smile, but I heard your smile. Yeah. I like working towards resolution.
Yeah.
It is kind of frustrating that we have to do it so often.
Yeah.
That's why I try and see your perspective a little sooner.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get frustrated because I don't feel that reciprocated. Yeah. And that's usually when about that point when I start feeling like you're not reciprocating the openness is when I start to shut down and just get all hard-headed about something. I pick some random hill to die on that's not even worth dying for.
Yeah.
I think we've actually argued about that before. But for real, is this how we sound? Is this how I sound when I argue? Is it my fault that we're all over the place?
I think it really is.
Fuck.
Like, it actually is.
Maybe I just need to slow down with everything.
I think you really do. And, like, soak up some of the things that I'm saying and not be so quick to just, like, well, I disagree.
No, I disagree completely.
Yeah, I know. I know.
All right. This podcast has been a learning experience for me.
How so?
To slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, slow down on your expectation of when your weight loss is going to happen, because it will.
Oh, I don't even mean about that.
No, I do. I really do. That's what this podcast is about.
Yes, that, but also just slow down in general.
Yeah.
I tend to think really fast. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the arguments we had before
Yep.
about why we disagree so much.
Yep.
I'm more of an accuracy by volume type of individual, and you're just a well-placed
Accuracy by accuracy.
accuracy by the traditional sense.
Yeah. By intention.
Yeah, target's got to be over there somewhere.
See, this is why it happens.
Yeah.
It's not often I see you speechless.
Who said I'm speechless? I'm just slowing down.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
Good. So anyway, to like kind of wrap up this podcast, since it's kind of lengthy at this point, what are your takeaways?
To slow down.
What else?
I definitely have a couple of ideas now about changing my mindset towards jiu-jitsu and the gym as less of a weight loss thing, more of a long-term health thing,
Yeah.
where the weight will just kind of fall in line to my new active lifestyle,
Yeah.
as opposed to using it to try and achieve the new active lifestyle. Yeah, I think that one's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
I don't think we came to any resolution with the diet thing, though. I mean, I agree with you that diet culture is kind of an asshole.
Toxic asshole.
Yeah, doesn't really tell you the why behind it. Just do this. It's the magic pill. Sometimes it actually is a pill,
Yeah.
and other stuff like that. I think I can agree with you there. So that's a good takeaway.
Yeah. I would say to like round it back to the very beginning of what we were talking about. Do you understand why I put the boundary in place that I did?
Oh yeah, that was the beginning of this.
It was the beginning of this.
I do understand. I understand why the boundary's there. If I remember, we started it off that I felt bummed out that I can't share my ideas
Yes.
with you.
Yeah.
But again, with the whole accuracy by volume thing, not all my ideas are great.
Exactly.
Quite a few of them are terrible. There's only
But you want all of them to be considered equally.
Yeah. Well, and part of it is just for the sake of the scientific method. You fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
But I've been finding out for fucking 5 years. So at what point do I start formulating a good chart?
Yeah.
I think it's because I don't have one. I need to get one. Make it more fun.
Yeah. I feel like if you were to actually like write down your values based on what's important to you, not based on your insecurities.
Oh, we're at the fucking value thing again.
Dearie, what do you mean?
We just got to sit down and do this one day.
Weird.
Yeah. It's like the 7th or 8th time that you've said it. We just haven't committed.
Well, I think that it is important because, like, why do you want to lose weight so bad?
It is important.
You know?
I don't know if I've ever identified my why
Yeah.
on why I wanted to do it.
Dearie, you need to stop fucking with the microphone.
You just have to sit down and do it.
Yeah. I think it would be good for you to figure out your why.
I think it would be too. I'm going to have to think on it, though.
Yep.
I'm going to have to identify which is the judgmental guy and which one is the actual reason that I want to do it.
Do you think it'll be easier to respect my boundaries after this conversation?
I mean, do you feel like I've been disrespectful of your boundary other than this conversation?
It kind of seems like you've been coming to me and being like, I'll be intuitive talking after this conversation, after this conversation,
That was
after
one
this
time. That was
conversation.
the conversation
Well,
after you set the boundary. And it was like 10 minutes after. Just because I wanted to get it out there. That was once. But yes, I will respect your boundary.
Do you still feel the same about how you felt with not being able to talk to me about it?
Bummed out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, other than this conversation was nice.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as I progress through it, I'm just not going to be able to share with you.
I feel like you can just share different goals, like different triumphs. Instead of, oh yeah, I'm down from 340 to 336 or whatever, right? It's like, hey, my consistency seems to be paying off, right? My intentional energy seems to be paying off. Or, I felt really good about being on top of food this morning. Like, hearing things that, I mean, it is kind of selfish for me to ask that of you, but also, like, it's what I need. Like, it really is. Like, I think that it's more important for me to not have to hear that and, like, engage in that kind of conversation than it is for you to have that conversation with me.
For now.
Yeah.
For now. I think we'll have a different conversation when I'm actually towards my goal. You know, if we're still having this where you don't want to hear about that and I'm like right around my goal weight, I might be a little sad. Might be a little sad about it. But it's a ways out. We can burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, hypotheticals aren't doing us any good right now.
No. And who's to say? I mean, at that point, there will be such a massive change that maybe I'll have different ideas about it.
Yeah.
And I come around to the more intuitive
You don't even know
side.
how you're going to feel next week.
Man, I don't know how I'm going to feel in 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who knows? Maybe the next podcast is going to be like, Tom is on board with intuitive eating.
We'll see you tomorrow. But no, for real. Like, you never know. Maybe you'll have somebody on here, or a couple on here, just to argue or talk. And it might be beneficial for them knowing they're being recorded.
Yeah. I think it would definitely be beneficial.
It's a nice period of
someone to know.
self-reflection for me because I get to hear how all over the place I am.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. You know what?
I feel like that just helps you know that I'm like exercising an extra level of patience with you.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I appreciate you for it. You've been very patient with me.
good.
I am a person who does require a lot of patience.
Yeah. Leroy.
And with most things, I reciprocate the patience.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of self-reflection going to be going on here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, everyone. Thanks for being on the podcast, Derry.
You're welcome, Derry.
Till next time.
Until next time.
Mental Odyssey is a Dream and Do podcast, produced and edited by yours truly. The music is owned by Chill Hop, and this song is Velocities by Sleepy Fish. Go check them out. Thanks for being here.